Have you ever walked into a room and instantly wished you were more confident? Maybe you wanted to speak up, but your voice got stuck, or you wanted to take a chance, but fear held you back. The truth is, confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And today, I'll share with you 5 powerful keys that can completely change the way you see yourself and how others see you. If you want to unlock your best, most confident self, this is where it begins. Positive self-talk is one of the most powerful yet often overlooked tools for building genuine confidence. At its core, self-talk is the internal dialogue you have with yourself every single day. Whether you are consciously aware of it or not, it shapes your perceptions, influences your emotions, and ultimately drives your behavior. Many people underestimate just how much of their confidence, or lack thereof, is rooted not in external circumstances but in the constant stream of thoughts running through their minds. Learning to replace destructive inner dialogue with constructive and encouraging affirmations is not about lying to yourself. Rather, it is about reshaping the way you view challenges and your own potential. Think for a moment about how you usually respond internally. When you are faced with a difficult situation, do you immediately think, "I can't handle this," or "I'll probably fail"? If so, that is negative self-talk, and it quietly chips away at your sense of self. On the other hand, if you deliberately shift that thought to something like, "This is tough, but I can learn and grow from it," you reframe the experience in a way that empowers you instead of discouraging you. Confidence is not the absence of fear or doubt, it is the decision to move forward despite them. And positive self-talk gives you the inner strength to make that decision consistently. One practical way to cultivate positive self-talk is by becoming more aware of your inner critic. Everyone has that inner voice that highlights mistakes, exaggerates weaknesses, and predicts failure. The first step to change is to listen carefully and catch yourself when you are spiraling into negativity. Once you recognize these harmful patterns, you can challenge them. For instance, if you hear yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough to speak in front of others," pause and ask, "What evidence do I really have for that? Didn't I do a decent job the last time I presented?" By challenging the assumptions of your inner critic, you begin to weaken its influence. Another method is to intentionally create a bank of affirmations, short, empowering phrases that you repeat to yourself until they begin to reshape your thought patterns. Affirmations such as, "I am capable of learning new skills," "I handle challenges with resilience," or "I deserve to be here just as much as anyone else," may sound simple, but repeated often enough, they can replace years of negative conditioning. Neuroscience supports this. The brain's plasticity means it can literally rewire itself based on repeated thought patterns. Every positive affirmation strengthens neural pathways that reinforce confidence. It is also important to recognize that positive self-talk is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to interpret reality in the most constructive way possible. If you fail a test, for example, negative self-talk will insist, "You're stupid and hopeless." Positive self-talk, however, reframes it as, "You didn't prepare enough this time, but you now know what to work on, and you'll do better next time." The facts are the same: you failed the test, but the interpretation is vastly different. The former interpretation paralyzes you, while the latter motivates you to try again. That distinction is what separates confident people from those who remain stuck in self-doubt. To make positive self-talk a habit, consistency is key. You cannot expect to undo years of critical inner dialogue overnight. Start with small steps, perhaps by writing down 3 positive affirmations in the morning and repeating them aloud. Over time, you can incorporate positive reframing throughout your day. Each time you catch yourself thinking negatively, stop and deliberately replace it with a constructive alternative. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, until positivity is your default state. Beyond individual affirmations, visualization can also enhance the effects of positive self-talk. When you pair empowering phrases with mental images of yourself succeeding, you reinforce your brain's belief in your ability to achieve. For example, before an important interview, you might say, "I am calm, prepared, and confident," while also imagining yourself walking into the room with steady posture and answering questions clearly. This combination of words and imagery makes your brain practice success before it even happens, reducing anxiety and boosting confidence. Another overlooked aspect of self-talk is the way we speak to ourselves during setbacks. Everyone faces rejection, failure, or embarrassment at some point. The difference between those who bounce back and those who stay defeated lies in the internal narrative they adopt afterward. Instead of telling yourself, "That was humiliating, I'll never try again," confident individuals might say, "That was tough, but I'm proud I had the courage to try. Next time, I'll be even better." Notice how the same event, perhaps stumbling during a public speech, can be either the end of your confidence or a stepping stone to growth, depending on your self-talk. Furthermore, your inner dialogue is contagious. The way you speak to yourself affects the way you interact with others. If you constantly belittle yourself internally, you may unconsciously project insecurity in your body language, tone, and behavior. Conversely, positive self-talk not only improves your confidence but also makes you appear more approachable and trustworthy. People are naturally drawn to those who radiate quiet assurance, and much of that comes from the unseen conversations you are having in your own head. It is also worth noting that positive self-talk can influence physical performance. Athletes, for instance, often use motivational self-talk to push through exhaustion and fear during competitions. Saying things like, "One more step, I've got this," or "I am strong and unstoppable," may sound trivial, but in the heat of the moment, those words can give just enough mental energy to keep going. Similarly, in everyday life, encouraging self-talk can help you face stressful situations. Whether it's delivering a presentation, asking for a promotion, or starting a new project. Finally, the transformation that comes from positive self-talk is gradual but profound. Over weeks and months of practice, you may notice that situations which once terrified you now feel manageable. You may find yourself taking opportunities you would have previously avoided. Confidence, after all, is not something you are either born with or without. It is something you can build deliberately, and your inner dialogue is the foundation. By choosing to speak kindly, encouragingly, and constructively to yourself, you give yourself the permission and power to grow. In summary, positive self-talk is more than just a motivational cliché. It is a practical, scientifically supported strategy for cultivating real confidence. It requires awareness of your inner critic, deliberate replacement of negative thoughts with empowering affirmations, and consistent practice until it becomes natural. By mastering your self-talk, you reshape not only your thoughts, but also your actions, relationships, and opportunities. Confidence begins in the mind, and the words you tell yourself each day are the seeds from which it grows. Body language is often described as the unspoken language that communicates volumes before a single word is uttered. It is one of the most powerful tools in the journey to becoming more confident, because it not only changes how others perceive you but also directly affects how you perceive yourself. Confidence is not simply about having the right thoughts, it is also about aligning your physical presence with those thoughts. When you consciously stand tall, maintain eye contact, and use open gestures, you are sending messages both outwardly to others and inwardly to your own brain that you are self-assured and in control. Consider the impact of posture. When you slump your shoulders, cross your arms tightly, or keep your head down, you project insecurity, hesitation, and a desire to hide. People may unconsciously interpret this as a lack of confidence or even a lack of competence. On the other hand, when you pull your shoulders back, keep your chest open, and hold your head high, you instantly appear more assertive and capable. This physical stance, often called a power posture, has been shown in psychological studies to increase feelings of self-assurance. Even if you initially feel nervous, adopting a confident posture can trick your brain into reducing stress and increasing your sense of control. Eye contact is another crucial component. In many cultures, steady, but not overly intense eye contact signals trustworthiness, attentiveness, and confidence. When you avoid eye contact, others may interpret it as disinterest, dishonesty, or insecurity. Practicing eye contact during conversations helps build stronger connections and makes you appear more engaged. The key is balance. Maintain eye contact long enough to show confidence, but remember to occasionally glance away to avoid seeming intimidating. Over time, this practice becomes natural and reinforces the image of someone who believes in themselves. Gestures also play a significant role. Open hand movements, for example, suggest honesty and openness, while fidgeting, crossing arms, or hiding your hands in pockets may signal discomfort. Imagine two people giving a presentation. One constantly wrings their hands, avoids eye contact, and shifts nervously from foot to foot, while the other uses purposeful hand gestures, stands firmly, and maintains a calm expression. Even if both deliver the same content, the second person will almost always be perceived as more confident and persuasive, simply because of their body language. Facial expressions are another subtle but powerful factor. A genuine smile conveys warmth, approachability, and confidence. It invites others to respond positively, which in turn reinforces your own sense of assurance. Neutral or tense expressions, on the other hand, may inadvertently send the message that you are uncomfortable or unfriendly. Practicing relaxed, genuine expressions in everyday interactions not only boosts how others perceive you but also improves your own mood and mindset. One fascinating aspect of body language is its ability to influence your internal state. This concept, sometimes called embodied cognition, suggests that the way you hold your body can shape your emotions and thoughts. For example, standing in a strong, open posture for just a few minutes before a stressful situation like an interview or speech can reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, and increase testosterone, a hormone linked to confidence and assertiveness. Essentially, by acting confident physically, you begin to feel more confident mentally. This is why many successful professionals have rituals involving posture. breathing, or gestures before stepping into high-pressure situations. Another key element is voice projection, which, though not purely body language, is closely connected to it. Speaking with a steady, clear tone projects authority and assurance. Slouching or closing off your posture often makes your voice weaker, while standing tall and breathing deeply allows your voice to resonate. Practicing slow, deliberate speech not only helps others understand you better but also gives you time to think, reducing nervousness. The simple act of slowing down can transform an anxious rush of words into a calm, confident delivery. Awareness of personal space is also important. Confident people respect boundaries while also being comfortable in their own space. Standing too far back may signal insecurity, while standing too close can seem aggressive. The right balance conveys self-assurance and respect for others. In professional settings, this often means keeping an arm's length of space unless the situation calls for closer proximity. To build confident body language, practice is essential. Start by observing yourself in everyday situations. Notice whether you slump, fidget, or avoid eye contact. Small changes such as straightening your back when walking into a room, smiling when greeting someone, or practicing open hand gestures during conversations can make a remarkable difference. Another helpful method is to record yourself speaking or presenting and review your posture, gestures, and expressions. By doing so, you can identify areas for improvement and gradually refine your physical presence. It is also useful to study others. Watch confident speakers, leaders, or even actors and analyze how they use body language. Notice how they command attention, how they pause effectively, and how their gestures align with their words. You can model these behaviors in your own way, adapting them to fit your personality. Remember, confidence is not about mimicking someone else. Exactly, it is about finding physical behaviors that authentically express your own assurance. Perhaps, the most empowering realization is that body language does not require perfection to make a difference. Even small adjustments can significantly shift perceptions. Walking into a room with an upright posture, making eye contact with the first person you see, and offering a genuine smile can instantly transform how others respond to you. Each positive interaction builds a cycle. Your confident body language leads to positive reactions from others, which then boosts your internal confidence further. Ultimately, body language acts as both a mirror and a magnifier of confidence. It mirrors your current state of mind, revealing your true feelings to others. At the same time, it magnifies your inner dialogue, either reinforcing insecurity or amplifying confidence depending on how you carry yourself. By choosing to align your body language with the confident person you aspire to be, you create a feedback loop that strengthens both your internal and external sense of assurance. In short, confidence is not only what you think, it is also what you show. By standing tall, maintaining eye contact, using open gestures, smiling genuinely, and speaking with clarity, you embody the traits of a confident individual. Over time, these physical actions shift from being deliberate practices to natural habits, making confidence not just something you strive for, but something you live every day. Skill development is one of the most reliable and sustainable paths toward genuine confidence. Unlike temporary boosts from external compliments or motivational quotes, the confidence that comes from mastering new abilities is rooted in real competence. When you know that you are capable of performing well in a particular area, self-doubt naturally diminishes. You don't have to force yourself to feel confident. That becomes a byproduct of the skills you've built. This is why people who continuously invest in their personal and professional growth often radiate a quiet but unshakable assurance. Confidence built on skill has a unique quality. It is grounded in evidence. For example, imagine two individuals asked to give a public presentation. One has little experience and minimal preparation, so despite their attempts to think positively, their nerves overwhelm them. The other has studied presentation techniques, practiced multiple times, and refined their content. Their confidence is not just a mental trick, it is rooted in hours of deliberate effort. This illustrates a fundamental truth. The more prepared and skilled you are, the less room fear and self-doubt have to dominate. The journey of skill development begins with acknowledging areas where you want to grow. This could be related to your career, such as learning a programming language or improving communication skills, or it could be personal, such as cooking, playing an instrument, or fitness training. Choosing one area at a time helps avoid overwhelm and allows you to see measurable progress. Once you commit, the process of learning itself begins to reinforce confidence, because every small step forward proves that you are capable of growth. One critical aspect of developing skills is adopting a growth mindset. The belief that abilities are not fixed but can be improved through effort, practice, and persistence. People with a fixed mindset often avoid challenges because they fear failure will expose their limitations. In contrast, those with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. This shift in perspective is vital for confidence. Instead of thinking, "I'm bad at this, so I should avoid it," you begin to think, "I'm not good at this yet, but I can improve with practice. The addition of that single word yet transforms self-doubt into determination. Practice is at the heart of skill development. Confidence grows when your actions become automatic through repetition. Take, for example, someone learning to play guitar. At first, their fingers stumble awkwardly over the strings, and frustration threatens to derail them. But with consistent practice, the movements become smoother, and eventually they can play songs with ease. Each milestone achieved reinforces the belief, I can do this. The same principle applies to speaking, writing, technical tasks, or social interactions. Confidence doesn't magically appear. One day it accumulates gradually through consistent effort. Another important factor is seeking constructive feedback. While practicing alone is valuable, feedback from mentors, peers, or coaches accelerates growth. Honest feedback highlights blind spots you may not notice and provides guidance on how to improve. At first, criticism can sting, especially if you already feel insecure. But reframing feedback as a tool for growth rather than a personal attack makes it an asset. When you act on feedback and see improvement, your confidence increases not just because you've gained new skills, but also because you've proven to yourself that you can adapt and evolve. Skill development also requires patience. In a world of instant gratification, many people give up when progress is slow. Yet lasting confidence is not built in a day or a week. It often takes months or even years of effort. Understanding this timeline helps you remain motivated even when results are not immediately visible. Each hour of practice is an investment in your future confidence. Even small daily improvements add up to profound transformation over time. A practical approach is to break large skills into smaller, manageable parts. For instance, if your goal is to become a confident public speaker, start with practicing short introductions, then progress to explaining concepts to friends, and eventually move to presenting in front of larger audiences. Each small victory builds confidence for the next level. By the time you are on stage in front of dozens or hundreds of people, you are not relying solely on courage, you are relying on the countless hours of skill building that brought you there. It's also important to recognize that developing new skills often involves failure along the way. Instead of viewing mistakes as proof of incompetence, see them as essential steps in the learning process. Every expert was once a beginner who failed repeatedly. The difference is that they didn't stop. They allowed failures to refine their abilities rather than define their worth. This mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones and helps build resilience, a key component of lasting confidence. Another benefit of skill development is the expansion of opportunities. When you know you can handle challenges, you are more likely to step into new situations. For example, learning negotiation skills may encourage you to pursue leadership roles. Improving technical knowledge may open doors to higher-paying jobs. With each new opportunity embraced, your confidence grows, not just in that specific skill, but in your overall ability to navigate life. Interestingly, skill development often spills over into unrelated areas of life. For instance, someone who trains consistently in martial arts may find themselves becoming more confident in business meetings, not because fighting skills are directly relevant, but because the discipline, focus, and resilience gained in training shape their overall self-belief. Confidence built in one domain often strengthens confidence across the board. In addition, skill development fosters independence. When you know you can rely on your own abilities, you become less dependent on external validation. You no longer need constant reassurance from others to feel confident because you have first-hand evidence of your competence. This internal confidence is far more sustainable than the fleeting boost of praise. Finally, developing skills contributes to a lifelong sense of purpose and fulfillment. Confidence is not simply about projecting strength, it is about genuinely believing in your capacity to handle life's challenges and contribute value to the world. When you continuously refine your abilities, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of growth and worthy of success. That deep, unshakable confidence becomes part of who you are. In summary, skill development is the backbone of authentic confidence. By adopting a growth mindset, practicing consistently, seeking feedback, embracing failure, and celebrating small victories, you build a foundation of competence that fuels self-assurance. Over time, the evidence of your abilities becomes just to others but to yourself. True confidence is not an act or a mask. It is the natural result of knowing you are capable, because you have put in the work to become capable. Stepping out of your comfort zone is one of the most transformative actions you can take to build lasting confidence. The comfort zone is a psychological space where activities and situations feel familiar, safe, and easy to manage. While it offers a sense of security, it can also be a trap that limits growth. Remaining in this zone may protect you from fear and discomfort, but it also prevents you from realizing your full potential. Confidence does not grow in the absence of challenge, it grows when you face discomfort, take risks, and prove to yourself that you can survive and succeed outside the boundaries of the familiar. Imagine a person who avoids public speaking because it makes them anxious. Every time they choose to stay silent, they reinforce the belief that speaking is dangerous and that they are incapable of handling it. Over time, their confidence shrinks, and the comfort zone becomes smaller. In contrast, another person with the same fear decides to take small steps, speaking in front of a close friend, then in a small group, then volunteering to present at work. Each step outside the comfort zone builds resilience and gradually expands what feels possible. This process illustrates the paradox of confidence. It grows not from avoiding fear, but from facing it directly. The first step to leaving your comfort zone is recognizing the invisible boundaries you've created for yourself. These boundaries might include avoiding social situations, declining new opportunities at work, or sticking to routines that feel safe but unchallenging. Ask yourself, what are the activities I secretly avoid because I'm afraid of failure, rejection, or embarrassment? Often, those are the exact areas where growth and confidence lie waiting. Identifying these areas is powerful because it allows you to confront them intentionally rather than unconsciously staying trapped. Taking risks does not mean jumping into extremes or putting yourself in overwhelming situations. It means choosing manageable challenges that stretch you just enough to promote growth without paralyzing you. Psychologists often describe this as operating in the learning zone, the space between comfort and panic. For example, if networking at a large conference terrifies you, start by introducing yourself to one new person at a smaller event. If exercising in a gym full of strangers feels intimidating, begin with short workouts at home and then gradually visit the gym during quieter hours. The key is progressive exposure, building confidence one small risk at a time until the unfamiliar becomes comfortable. Another crucial aspect of stepping out of your comfort zone is embracing discomfort as a natural part of growth. Many people interpret fear or nervousness as a signal to retreat, but these feelings are actually signs that you are stretching your abilities. Instead of saying, "I feel anxious, so I should stop," reframe it as, "I feel anxious because I'm growing." This shift transforms discomfort from a threat into a companion on the journey to confidence. Over time, you learn to tolerate and even welcome discomfort because you associate it with progress. It is also important to redefine failure. Fear of failure is often what keeps people trapped in their comfort zones. However, failure is not evidence of incompetence. It is proof that you are trying something new. Every failure provides feedback and builds resilience, which are essential ingredients for confidence. Consider how children learn to walk. They stumble and fall countless times, but each fall is not seen as a disaster. It's simply part of the process. As adults, we forget this truth and begin to treat failure as a reflection of our worth. By reframing failure as feedback, you remove its power to paralyze and instead use it as fuel for growth. Support systems can also play a role in leaving your comfort zone. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage risk-taking and celebrate effort rather than just success can make the process less daunting. A mentor, coach, or supportive friend can remind you of your progress and push you when fear tempts you to retreat. Sharing your goals with others adds accountability and makes you more likely to follow through on your commitments. Another practical strategy is to intentionally set challenges for yourself. Create a discomfort list of activities you want to attempt, things that scare you slightly but are within reach. For example, striking up a conversation with a stranger, speaking up in a meeting, trying a new hobby, or traveling alone. Each time you check off an item, you expand your comfort zone and reinforce your belief in your own capabilities. This approach turns fear into a game, making growth an exciting adventure rather than a dreaded task. Interestingly, stepping out of your comfort zone not only builds confidence in specific situations but also strengthens your overall self-trust. Once you prove to yourself that you can face fear in one area, you become more willing to take risks in others. For instance, someone who conquers their fear of heights by trying rock climbing may find themselves more confident in speaking up at work. The lesson is transferable. If I can handle that, I can handle this. Each victory adds to a growing reservoir of self-belief. The long-term effect of regularly stepping out of your comfort zone is the expansion of what feels normal. What once terrified you eventually becomes routine, and your comfort zone grows larger. This continuous expansion creates a life filled with more opportunities, richer experiences, and deeper confidence. Instead of avoiding life's challenges, you begin to seek them out, knowing that each one is a chance to grow stronger. Ultimately, leaving your comfort zone is not about recklessness or chasing adrenaline. It is about courage, the willingness to face uncertainty and discomfort for the sake of growth. Confidence is not a gift bestowed upon the fearless. It is a skill built by ordinary people who choose to step into the unknown again and again. The more you practice this, the more you realize that fear loses its grip on you. You discover that you are capable of far more than you imagined, and that realization becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence. In short, Stepping out of your comfort zone is the bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. By identifying your boundaries, taking progressive risks, embracing discomfort, redefining failure, and seeking support, you create a cycle of growth that continuously strengthens your confidence. Over time, the unknown no longer feels like a threat but an invitation, a doorway to the next version of your best self. Consistency and practice are the final keys to transforming temporary bursts of confidence into a lasting way of life. While positive self-talk, body language, skill development, and stepping outside your comfort zone all contribute to building confidence, none of these strategies can succeed without repetition. Confidence is not something you achieve once and then keep forever. It is something you must cultivate and reinforce daily. Just like physical fitness requires regular exercise, confidence requires consistent practice to remain strong. Think of confidence as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. When you practice confidence-building behaviors regularly, whether it's speaking up in meetings, maintaining strong posture, or setting small challenges, you are essentially training your confidence muscle. If you neglect it, however, that muscle weakens, and self-doubt can creep back in. The good news is that, with steady effort, even small actions accumulate into remarkable long-term transformation. One reason consistency is so important is that the brain thrives on repetition. Neuroscience shows that repeated behaviors create and strengthen neural pathways. At first, practicing confidence may feel unnatural, like forcing yourself to smile when nervous or repeating affirmations you don't quite believe. But each repetition rewires your brain just a little more, until eventually these behaviors become automatic. What once required effort becomes a natural habit, and confidence becomes less of a conscious act and more of an ingrained trait. Consider the example of someone learning to play the piano. At first, pressing the right keys feels clumsy and awkward, but after consistent practice, the movements become fluid. Similarly, practicing confident behaviors like making eye contact, speaking clearly, or volunteering for new tasks may feel forced initially, but over time they become second nature. Confidence is not built in one grand moment. It is built in thousands of small, consistent choices. Another aspect of consistency is showing up even when you don't feel like it. Many people wait for the right mood to practice confidence, but true growth happens when you practice regardless of how you feel. For instance, if you only speak up in meetings when you're already feeling confident, you miss the opportunity to build resilience. But if you speak up even when nervous, you prove to yourself that fear does not control you. Over time, this persistence teaches you that confidence is not about the absence of nerves, it's about the willingness to act despite them. Daily routines can help solidify confidence practices. Simple habits such as starting the day with affirmations, practicing mindful breathing, or setting small daily challenges keep confidence building at the forefront of your life. Evening reflections, where you review what went well and where you showed courage, also reinforce progress. By embedding these practices into your daily rhythm, you ensure that confidence becomes a lifestyle rather than a temporary boost. Another benefit of consistency is the compounding effect. Small improvements may seem insignificant in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years, they accumulate into extraordinary growth. Speaking up once in a meeting may not feel transformative, but doing it consistently over the course of a year could change how colleagues perceive you, open new opportunities, and reshape your self-image. This compounding effect is why consistency often matters more than intensity. A small effort repeated daily has far greater impact than a massive effort made once and abandoned. Consistency also protects against setbacks. Everyone experiences failures, rejections, or moments of doubt. If your confidence practice is inconsistent, these setbacks may derail you completely. But if you have built a foundation of steady habits, you can recover quickly. For example, if you've practiced positive self-talk daily, one moment of criticism is less likely to crush you because your inner dialogue has already been trained to stay constructive. Consistency provides stability, ensuring that confidence is not shaken easily by external events. It is also important to track your progress. Consistency can sometimes feel boring because the results are not immediately visible. Keeping a journal of your efforts and achievements helps you see the growth that might otherwise go unnoticed. Looking back on small victories such as conversations you initiated, challenges you faced, or skills you improved reminds you of how far you've come and motivates you to continue. Support systems once again play a role here. Having an accountability partner or mentor can help you remain consistent when motivation fades. Sharing your goals with someone who checks in regularly adds external pressure to keep going. Celebrating progress with others also reinforces the idea that consistency is worthwhile. Finally, consistency and practice lead to authenticity. When confidence is only an occasional performance, it can feel fake or fragile. But when you practice consistently, confidence becomes who you are. You no longer need to put on a mask or force behaviors, they flow naturally because they have been ingrained through repetition. This authenticity is what makes confidence sustainable. Others can sense when your confidence is genuine, and that authenticity builds trust and influence. In essence, consistency and practice are the glue that holds all the other confidence-building strategies together. Positive self-talk works only if practiced daily. Body language becomes natural only if rehearsed consistently. Skill development yields confidence only through repeated effort. Stepping out of your comfort zone expands your limits only if done regularly. Without consistency, each of these strategies becomes a one-time boost rather than a lasting transformation. To build enduring confidence, commit to small, repeatable actions that you can sustain over time. Celebrate progress, embrace the compounding effect, and stay resilient in the face of setbacks. Remember that confidence is not a destination but a lifelong practice. By showing up every day, even in small ways, you ensure that your confidence continues to grow stronger, deeper, and more authentic with each passing year. So, these were the 5 key steps to becoming more confident: changing the way you talk to yourself, using powerful body language, building your skills, stepping outside your comfort zone, and staying consistent with practice. Remember, confidence is not built overnight. It's a daily habit, a choice you make every single day. If you keep applying these steps, you'll soon realize you are stronger, braver, and more capable than you ever imagined. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful tips on personal growth and self-improvement. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.